afternoon, everyone. On the behalf of the Indian delegation, I am Tanay. I welcome all of you in Indo-African Youth Union Commission Exchange Program on the International Literacy Day. It's a most basic currency of the knowledge economy, and it's the ultimate investment for the future. By keeping all these points in the view, the UN celebrating the World Literacy Day since 1967. In 2023, the ILD will be an opportunity to join efforts to accelerate this progress in the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal number 4, where we are focusing on education and lifelong learning. So to reflect on the role of the literacy in building more inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable societies. So in doing so, it will embrace the reciprocal relationship between the literacy and all other areas of human development. We are keeping the literacy at the central for the creation of the holistic society, with the progress in all other areas as well. So under this theme, the International Literacy Day 2023, we are celebrating at global level, regional level, country level, as well as the local as well. So with this, I welcome all the delegates of India as well as AYUC, and let's begin the today's session. To begin with, I request Mangesh sir to start the recorded dance from the Indian delegation side.
सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा।
लाल चढ़ायो अच्छा गजमुख को, सोंदिल लाल विराजे सुत गौरी हर को, हाथ लिए गुड़ लड्डू साई सुरवर को, महिमा कहे न जाए लागत हूँ पद को। जय देव जय देव जय जय जी गणराज विद्या सुखदाता, धन्य तुम्हारो दर्शन मेरा मन रमता। जय देव जय देव। गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि, गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि, गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि, एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि, गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि।
Thank you so much. This is the beautiful glimpse of the Indian culture as we pray with the Lord Ganesha as the idol for the knowledge. Now let's welcome the African culture. Mangesh sir, over to you. Let's have the glimpse of African culture also.
Name above every other name. What can't you change? What can't you change? Jesus. Tonight we celebrate God. Come on, Jesus. Nothing you cannot do. Nothing you cannot change. Nothing you cannot turn. You're able, great and mighty God. Who will trust in you? Jesus. We want to sing right. Come on, put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Now let's begin with the another next part of the today's exchange program. I would like to request the Indian guest of honor, Mrs. Renuka Joshi, ma'am, who is a principal of Ashoka Global School, Ashoka Marg campus. Ma'am, over to you for your opening remarks.
Good afternoon, all the delegates. It's afternoon here in India. I hope, what's the time over there in Africa? Nigeria, I suppose.
It's morning.
It's morning. Okay, so good morning to African delegates and good afternoon to our Indian delegates. First of all, I would like to talk about the performances which were there today. The first one was about the arrival of Lord Ganesha, Ganpati, which is Lord of Wisdom. And similarly, I saw the African tiny tots dancing, and I could see a mascot over there. The blue color, two mascots were there. So mascots, how they bring good luck to you all. Here, a Ganpati Bappa or Ganesha is our own Indian mascots. So see how our cultures also have some similarity into it. So today we all have gathered here to celebrate the most important day, the day which is termed as UN International Literacy Day. Now, why this day is so much important to us? Because literacy is high time. We understand that literacy has a lot of transformative power, and this literacy is going to open the doors of a lot of opportunities, lot of possibilities, and lots of wisdom and knowledge to our kids, isn't it? I hope we all agree to this. And as we commemorate this particular day, I would like to emphasize this that literacy is not only about reading and writing, it is much beyond that. Actually, literacy is a tool which can empower individuals so that they can take their own decisions, they can shape up their future, and they can contribute to the society. What I feel is that literacy is universal right. Every child, whichever nation he is born, he deserves to learn, to grow, and to dream. So I would like to appeal my delegates, African as well as Indian, to understand this importance of literacy and see how this incredible journey of literacy can take you. And along with that, let's collaborate together and see every child, whichever nation he is born, is not left behind in this journey. When we talk about literacy, what comes in our mind? It's about words, it's about reading, it's about making our vocabulary. We create language, and by language, we connect, we communicate. And when we communicate, the entire world's knowledge is in front of us. By that, we can understand what researchers have done before, and we can put forth our innovation. So, reading and learning is equally important. Reading opens up our mind and we can shape our own future, and this learning habit can we can take for entire life ahead. But what do you feel? Literacy is only about taking? No. Literacy is not only about what we can get, it's more about what we can give. A literate person will have thoughts, will have ideas, and these thoughts and ideas can impress, can inspire people. Isn't it? You all can become poets, you all can become writers, you all can become storytellers, and your stories can inspire the world. Your voice can become instrument of change in this society. So as we celebrate this particular day, I would like you all to embrace the joy of reading, learning. Let's pledge that we will learn more, we will read more, and we will encourage our family and friends to do so. Lastly, I would like to conclude by saying that literacy is a gift which goes on giving us, and we all should treasure it. At the end, I will say that let's come together. Let's come together and create a world where every child, every single child, irrespective of where he is born, can write his or her own success story. Thank you so much and happy Literacy Day to all my delegates from India and Africa. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your kind words. And yes, thanks for mentioning the importance of literacy as the universal right for each and every individual. Now, I request our AYUC guest of honor, Country Director, Mr. Joel Kapre from AYUC Ghana. Sir, your opening remarks, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a rainy morning, Saturday morning in Ghana. It's the crowd. I want to commend the Ashoka group for this wonderful initiative. The African Youth Union Commission believes in the potential of young people and the ability of young people to effect change in the world. We believe in training young people to be the agents of change in wherever they find themselves. The International Literacy Day aims to highlight the importance and value of literacy education for individuals and groups, as well as providing benefits for the wider global future. In the modern world, the ability for people to read and write has been directly connected to reduced poverty, improved socioeconomic status, reduced population growth, minimized child and maternal mortality rates, and balancing out gender and equality on a sustainable level. Because of this, many countries and governments all over the world believe that the increase of literacy rates in children will have a direct impact on the future welfare of them and their families. Even something as simple as being able to read a street sign, fill out vital health forms, read the news, or learn information from the internet is impossible without the ability to read, as this limits people's abilities to succeed and overcome obstacles in life. Even though this particular effort towards literacy began more than 50 years ago, it is still a relevant issue today, especially in areas that are underdeveloped, underprivileged, or at risk. Even in the developed world, International Literacy Day seeks to raise awareness about the lack and get others involved in helping to raise literacy rates, which will ultimately change lives. In fact, literacy is a key component of the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda leading up to the year 2030, understanding that for countries to be developed in a sustainable manner, they must ensure that their citizens are able to function on a literacy level for their own benefit as well as the world around them. Yes. So as we begin to deliberate and delve into more of the program, I would like to hear and learn more from our very distinguished speakers and some of the students. They will tell us their experiences and what they aim to learn from this program. Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Joel, sir. Thanks for mentioning the significance of the literacy and its key component of SDG of United Nations. And yes, I am also completely agree with you and each and every person participating in today's exchange program that it's an ability, literacy, it's an ability of young people to bring the change in the society. So on these points, let's begin today's presentation. I call upon the Ashoka Global School Arjunnagar campus students to start their presentation.
Greetings to everyone present here. Today, we gather here to commemorate International Literacy Day, a day of profound significance in our global calendar. It is a day when we come together and to celebrate the transformative power of literacy and reflect upon the challenges that still exist in ensuring that every person, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to acquire this fundamental skill. Our educational opportunities depend on literacy. Literacy is not merely the ability to read and write. It is the key that unlocks doors to knowledge, empowerment, and personal growth. Literacy is the foundation upon which individuals build their futures, communities thrive, and nations progress. In the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. International Literacy Day was founded by UNESCO, that is, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, to make people aware about the fact of being literate and educated. Over to you, Sharvari.
International Literacy Day is an international observance celebrated each year on 8th September. On October 26, 1966, UNESCO declared September 8th as International Literacy Day at the 14th UNESCO General Conference. International Literacy Day was first celebrated on 8th September 1967. It aims to highlight the importance of literacy to individuals, communities, and societies. It wants to spread awareness to the masses about the importance of literacy. Let us first see what led to the evolution of International Literacy Day. It was basically given birth to remove worldwide issues of illiteracy. The main purpose was not only to combat illiteracy, but also to use it as a tool to empower individuals as well as the whole community. The main aim of this day was to promote literacy. The world literacy rate in the year 1950 was 18.33%, which has tremendously increased to 86.3% in today's time. Despite progress made over the years, there are 773 million young people and adults who lack basic literacy skills, and 617 million children and adolescents do not have a basic proficiency level in reading and writing, which makes it extremely important to raise awareness among people. This awareness is essential within our communities as well as globally to remind the public of the importance of literacy as a matter of dignity and human rights. According to UNESCO, the world can achieve universal literacy approximately somewhere around 2060. Over to you, Narayani.
Now, the chief question is, why do we celebrate International Literacy Day? There are many answers to this particular question. First and foremost, literacy empowers individuals by providing them with the skills and knowledge needed to make informed decisions, access opportunities, and participate fully in society. Literate individuals are being equipped to exercise their rights and contribute to their communities. Secondly, we must invest in quality education that is accessible to all, regardless of gender, socioeconomic status, or geographical location. The day highlights the gender disparities in literacy rates and calls for efforts to ensure equal access to education for both genders. Thirdly, We must recognize the vital role of literacy in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which includes quality education, reduced inequalities, and decent work and economic growth. By improving literacy rates, progress can be made towards achieving these goals. Over to you, Rajeshwari.
Next, literacy is a key factor in poverty reduction. It opens up access to better job opportunities, higher incomes, and improved living standards. International Literacy Day emphasizes the role of literacy in breaking the cycle of poverty. In today's digital age, literacy goes beyond traditional reading and writing skills. It is essential for individuals to navigate and succeed in an increasingly technology driven world. We must embrace technological advancements and innovative teaching methods that can reach to those who are traditionally underserved. In an increasingly digital world, digital literacy is as important as traditional literacy skills. Lastly, let us remember that promoting literacy is not the responsibility of governments and organizations alone. It is a collective effort that involves communities, families, and individuals. Each of us can contribute by supporting literacy programs, encouraging reading in our homes, and advocating for policies that prioritize education. The day serves as a call to action, encouraging governments, non governmental organizations, educators, and individuals to take concrete steps to improve literacy rates, provide quality education, and support lifelong learning. In conclusion, International Literacy Day serves as a powerful reminder of the potential that lies within every person and the transformative power of education. Let us renew our commitment to promoting literacy, breaking down barriers, and ensuring that everyone can access the tools they need to build a brighter future. Together, we can make literacy a reality for all and pave the way for a more just, equitable, and prosperous world. Thank you everyone for listening to us.
Thank you so much, the delegates from the Arjun Nagar campus, elaborating the importance of the International Literacy Day. It's now it's turned to the AYUC students, the delegates from African University.
Princess Sheila, are you online? Princess Sheila.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. Good day, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. First, I would like to start by explaining international days and why international days are celebrated. International days are celebrated to create awareness and educate the community about topics of concern that need global attention. International Literacy Day takes place on every September 8th on September 8th every year to raise awareness and concern for literacy problems that exist within our local communities as well as globally. International Literacy Day was founded by the proclamation of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, popularly known as UNESCO, on 26th of October 1966 at the 14th session of UNESCO's General Conference. It was practiced in 1967, and since then, World Literacy Day is celebrated each year on 8th of September. The theme for International Literacy Day 2022 is Transforming Literacy Learning Spaces, while the theme for International Literacy Day 2023 is Promoting Literacy for a Transition, Building the Foundation for Sustainable and Peaceful Societies. International Literacy Day organizations and individuals take charge and use their literacy to encourage and assist those who are facing difficulties in how to read and write. Students are tutored by people who volunteer to teach children in different communities. Books are generously donated to libraries, and a student's tuition and learning are sponsored to launch their lifelong success. Celebration of Literacy Day is important in order to strengthen the education system, help needy people, and also raise awareness about the section of society which still lacks basic education and skills. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Princess Sheila. Dr. Danny, we don't have anyone for this section again. They didn't come online. Yes. Sir.
So we go ahead with the other presentations. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, AYUC student who had deliberately explained the importance of literacy and put forth what is the theme for 2023 International Literacy Day. Now it's time to present Ashoka Global School Sinnar Campus delegates to present on the thoughts on young children and how respective countries are coping with illiteracy. So over to you, Sinnar Campus delegates.
The man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. A very good afternoon to everyone present over here. I, Sairaj, student of Ashoka Universal School, Sinnar, is here along with my fellow delegates to inform you all about the development of literacy rate among young children and the various strategies adopted by our country, India, to develop it further. So let's get started. As per the report of UNICEF, now more children are enrolled in the school than even before, but far too many of them are not learning. Data from multiple indicator cluster surveys show that many children around the world today are not equipped with foundational reading and numeracy skills that prepare them for the world beyond. In addition, the digital nature of modern society makes information and communication technology skills essential to full social and economic participation. Yet, data show that many children and youth do not possess these vital skills. Now, Arya will further update you with the urban and rural development of literacy rate in India.
There were 49.01 million illiterates in urban area of country at the time of 1991 census. Enumeration, which was 14.9% of total illiterates. The urban illiterates increased 4.06 million after 1991 and recorded 53.1 million in 2011 census, which is 18.18% of total illiterates. Urban literacy rate in India is increasing rapidly. According to 1951 census, it was 34.6%, which increased up to 67.2% in 1981. During 2001 census, it was 79.9%, and now in 2011 census, it is recorded 84.1%. Now let's see how far has rural area came in terms of literacy. In India, right to education is a fundamental right, which states that every citizen of India between the age 16 to 14 years gets free and compulsory education. This provision ensures that citizens of India should get education up to 14 years without any discrimination. But the reality is far different from this. This literacy rate in India is 77.7%. However, the literacy rate of urban region in India is 87.7%, whereas in rural India it is only 73.5%. There are many reasons behind the differences between these two. Some of the challenges are as follows. First, lack of availability of resources, lack of awareness of educational purpose, less availability of schools. Being at little backward position, our government is not sitting with folded hands. Our Indian government has came up with few schemes to improve the status of literacy in rural areas. Let's have a close look on them. Government has announced a centrally sponsored scheme, namely New India Literacy Program, NILP, for implementation during 5 years from 2022 to 23 to 2026 to 27. The program aims to cover a target of 5 crore learners during the 5-year foundational literacy and numeracy components. Other than this, the government has also started Each One Teach One program, National Digital Literacy Mission, and Smile Twin e-learning program. Now, I would like to call Samruddhi to talk about vocational education and various steps taken by Indian government to promote it.
So when we talk about vocational education, it is a different learning option from the path of college or university. It offers a path that imparts the skills and knowledge needed to work in a given occupation. Our Indian government is trying its best to increase the participation of more and more people in vocational education under the scheme of Samagri Shiksha. Vocational courses are offered on constitution with the Sector Skills Councils, that is SSCs, and the representative bodies of industry. Employability skill module has been made a mandatory part of vocational courses. The National Education Policy NEP has given special emphasis on vocational education and skill development. Integration of vocational education with the general education and mainstreaming of vocational education have been identified as the key reforms in the education system of the country. Now, I would like to invite Indian delegate Swadesh to throw some light on the steps taken by Ashoka Group of Schools to develop literacy among the young children.
Thank you, Samruti. I feel very proud as a student of Ashoka Groups of School to develop literacy among the students. Let me throw some light on them. Ashoka has adopted two villages where they provide students with all the facilities which is required for them to become literate. Our school has built laboratories, libraries, and proper classrooms to make them educated, not only outside, but Ashoka has initiated TED Talk, Ashoka Talk, and collaboration of one branch with another in various activities to increase the literacy of students inside the campus. I hope the presentation was informative for you all. Now, allow us to take leave. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The delegates from the Sindar campus.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ruth Yero from Nigeria. I represent the African Youth Union Commission. International Literacy Day is celebrated every year on September 8th to raise awareness of the importance of literacy. The theme for this year's International Literacy Day is promoting literacy for a world in transition, that is, building the foundation for sustainable and peaceful societies. The out-of-school children crisis is a major problem in Nigeria, according to the United Nations Children's Fund, that's UNICEF. There are an estimated 10.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, even though primary education in government-owned educational institutions is officially free and compulsory. One in every 5 out-of-school children is from Nigeria. This is to say that Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children in any country in Africa. The crisis is caused by a number of factors, including poverty, conflict, and discrimination. A lot is being done to promote literacy in Nigeria, as it promises a bright future for Nigeria. The country has several interventions for promoting literacy in Nigeria. One of each is very vital, and that is the Universal Basic Education Policy, to ensure that young children can access 9 years of quality education to promote literacy. There are still lots of challenges, but we need to support the support of everyone: civil society and non-governmental organizations, private institutions, philanthropists, etc., to ensure we make genuine progress. Let's promote literacy for a better world. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ruth.
you very much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the development in Nigeria that is happening for the young children and the challenges that you guys are facing. With this, I will call upon the next delegate from India, the Ashoka Marg campus students, to present their thoughts on adult literacy.
Namaste. I extend my sincere thanks to distinguished heads of Indian and African delegations for their inspiring remarks on International Literacy Day. I would like to start by quoting Sudha Murthy, a famous philanthropist of Bharat. The ability to read and write is not just a skill. It is a doorway to the world of knowledge, imagination, and opportunity. I am Manas Bajaj, and I will speak on the current adult literacy scenario of India. As Bharat in its 75th year of independence, or as we say, the Amrit Kal of Bharat, would like to discuss some interesting statistics which were made by National Statistical Office of India about literacy in 2022. According to the data, 73.5% of the rural population and 87.7% of the urban population are literate. In spite of the fact, only 38% of rural households and 70% of the urban households had access to secondary education. These are very encouraging numbers. These are very encouraging numbers as compared to the Bharat during the independence era, when the literacy rate was only 4%. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, Indian students were introduced to digital learning. But it is a saddening fact that only 4% of rural population and 23% of the urban population had access to computer. The general literacy rate in Bharat stands at 74.4%. The female literacy rate is around 66%, and the male literacy rate stands at around 82.4%. The female literacy rates are lagging behind compared to the male literacy rates. There are many consequences to illiteracy. So I call upon the next delegate, Kangana, to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Manas, and pleasant regards to all. As we know, the primary objective of this session is to recognize the issue of illiteracy as a social problem. As we know, illiteracy affects a significant portion of adults in India, negatively impacting their quality of life, especially the economically weaker sections. This problem leads to seclusion and backwardness, impacting both urban and rural communities. Despite urban communities having better access to education, illiteracy can still persist and have significant consequences. So let us take a look on some of these consequences in urban area. First, reduced access to information. Illiterate individuals may have difficulty accessing and understanding important information, such as healthcare instruction, legal documents, and government services. This can result in poor health outcomes, legal issues, and difficulties in accessing social services. Second, poor health literacy. Illiteracy can also affect health literacy, making it difficult for individuals to understand medical instructions, follow prescribed medicines, prescribe treatments, and access healthcare services. This can result in worsened health outcomes and higher healthcare costs. Third, increased crime and delinquency. Illiterate individuals may face a higher risk of engaging in criminal activities or becoming victims of crime due to their limited economic opportunities and social disadvantages. Now, let us take a look on the rural area consequences. Rural area often face additional challenges related to limited access to educational resources and services, which can add up to the consequences of illiteracy. Here are some of the effects of illiteracy in rural areas. First, agriculture productivity. In many rural areas, agriculture is the primary source of income. Illiteracy can hinder a farmer's ability to access modern farming techniques and understand modern technologies, resources, and services, market information, and financial resources, leading to lower agriculture productivity. Second, gender disparities. Illiteracy affects women in many rural areas, limiting their opportunities for personal development, economic empowerment, and participation in decision-making processes. Third, vulnerability to exploitation. Illiterate individuals may be more subjected to exploitation, including land disputes, labor abuse, and scams, due to their limited ability to understand and assert their rights. Even though people face these challenges, but our government has initiated several schemes to prevent the growth of illiteracy rate in India. To further explain these schemes, I would like to hand over it to the next delegate, Mahi.
Thank you, Kangana. Warm wishes to everyone. Let me present the efforts of our government to tackle the adult literacy problem in rural areas. The first one, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Yojana. The Pradhan Mantri Vikas Yojana is an India-based skill development program launched in 2015 to empower Indian youth to take up industry-relevant skill training. The program aims to bridge the gap between the demand and supply of skilled workers in various sectors. Key components include short-term training, recognition of prior learning, special projects promoting entrepreneurship, placement assistance, standardized certification, collaboration with sector skill councils, and a robust monitoring and evaluation framework. The program also supports special projects promoting entrepreneurship and self-employment. The second one, Mahila Samakya Program. The Mahila Samakya Program is a Government of India initiative launched in 1988 to empower women, particularly those in marginalized communities, through education and gender equality. The program focuses on increasing women's awareness on their rights, challenging gender norms, and promoting education, particularly in rural areas. It also encourages women's collectiveness in self-help groups to address social and economic issues. The program also provides skill development and vocational training opportunities for women. It raises awareness about health, nutrition, and family planning. The program also educates women about their legal rights and provides support for accessing legal services. The program operates through NGOs and community-based organizations, ensuring gender-responsive policies and programs. Thank you. Now, I would like to hand over the presentation to the next delegate, Tanishka.
Thank you, Mahi. That was a great information. And now I'm very proud to tell you that Indian government have been launching 2 schemes in the urban areas, which is Sakshar Bharat program and the New India Literacy program. The Sakshar Bharat program was introduced by the Prime Minister and centrally sponsored by scheme of Department of Education and Literacy and other departments on 8 September 2009. It aims to further promote and strengthen the adult education by extending educational option for those who have lost the access or maybe the opportunity to continue their learning. The objectives of this mission are: first, to impart functional literacy and numeracy amongst the adults. Second, to enable the neo-literate adults to complete their education. And the third, to impart neo-literates and non-literates to learn relative skills to improve their earning and living conditions too. The second program which we have is New India Literacy Program. The Government of India has approved the New Literacy Program, a new scheme of education for all. It was earlier termed as the adult education for the period of 2022 to 2027. To cover all the aspects of education broadly, the scheme will be implemented through volunteerism in online modes. Objectives of these schemes are to impart foundational literacy and numeracy amongst the adults, to impart critical life skills, and the third one, to impart basic education to learners of 15 age group and above in the country. Priorities will be given to girls, women, minorities, people with needs, disabled people, nomads, construction workers, and many more. With this, I would like to thank and conclude and hand over the session to Gina.
Thank you, Tanishka. Today, I am going to speak about one more incentive taken by the Government of India in the year 2020, the National Education Policy. This policy is collaborated with NILP, that is New India Literacy Program, which was explained by Tanishka. The National Education Policy 2020 was started by the Union Cabinet of India on 29 July 2020. The new education policy replaces the previous National Education Policy of 1986. The policy is a comprehensive framework for elementary education to higher as well as vocational training for both rural and urban India. The policy aims to transform Indian education system by 2030. The National Education Policy 2023 marks a shift in India's landscape driven by the visionary leadership of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the human resource development. Policy replaces a framework that has been placed for 3 decades, that is 30 years, and create and modernize education system that goes beyond traditional boundaries. The National Education Policy 2023 represents India's stride towards future where education becomes a both privilege and accessible tool. There are many and more schemes from government side, but the population of India is such that only government incentives are not enough. So big companies like Tata and Reliance also help government in improving and developing India in all the terms. Companies and people like these are not only blessing for my country, but also God-like structure for people of my country. Some non-governmental efforts to increase literacy in adult, an incentive by Tata Consultancy Services, that is TCS. The Adult Literacy Program was set up to improve adult literacy rates using the computer-based functional literacy solution. The computer-based functional literacy solution module. Non-literate adults can learn, achieve functional literacy that is reading, writing, arithmetics within 50 hours over a period of 3 months, which is about 1/6 time demanded by the conventional learning method. The computer-based functional literacy software is available in 9 Indian and 3 foreign languages. TCS, strategic partnership with local governments, jail authorities, NGOs, and other companies to enhance their reach. One more non-governmental effort by Menda Foundation by launching adult literacy program. Along with eShala, Menda Foundation provides an adult literacy program developed by Tata Consultancy Services to give primary education to adults in rural areas. The program aims to teach basic alphabets, arithmetics, which are important in day-to-day activities like farming and business. Now I'd like to hand over to next Galit Navinda for further presentation.
Thank you, Jeelan. Now let's proceed with the last part of our presentation. As a representative of Ashoka Universal School, Ashoka Marg branch, I would like to wrap up today's discussion by first starting with a quote by Mahatma Gandhi, a famous Indian freedom fighter. I'm sure you all must have heard of him. Being able to read and write is not enough for true literacy. It's not where literacy starts or ends. When I say literacy, I mean developing a person in every way, physically, mentally, and spiritually. This means that just reading and writing is a part of education. As explained by my fellow delegates earlier, it is just a part of it. It is important, but it is not enough. Now, speaking of India, it's important to realize that India has a lot of youths. Nearly 66% of our population is from 14 to 35. They have the potential to bring about big waves of change by getting involved in government programs that are primarily based on voluntary basis. They help adults who can't read and write. Even kids can help out and lend a hand. This change is already happening through the various schemes already explained by my fellow delegates here, out of which the NILP program, National India Literacy Policy Program, is the one which I want to give as an example here. Anyone who has finished 10th grade can volunteer at one of the 20,900 centers. Each center has at least one volunteer and they don't get paid. It's all about volunteering. This shows how much young people are helping. Even at a school, Ashoka Universal Group of Schools, we are also doing our best to help adults increase their literacy and help children with their education. We recently adopted a village at Mahasuri and conducted activities such as a book donation drive and educating the youths there. Also, I'm happy to mention that this International Literacy Day, we are planning a whole week of activities for the youths and children present there. We are planning activities such as speeches, programs, activities for the youth and children, and vocational training courses which focus especially on women. Our main goal is to raise awareness about literacy and help them have a better future. Lastly, I would like to conclude by saying that I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your attentive audience today. As students and responsible educated citizens of India, it is incumbent upon us to contribute to the country's holistic development, encompassing economic and various other aspects. This can only be achieved when all our citizens are literate. Therefore, it is our duty as responsible citizens to extend a helping hand and contribute to the advancement of a great nation. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Now I request the AYUC student to emphasize on the adult literacy program that occurs in the African Union. Over to you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Joe Agama. I am from Nigeria. I represent the African Youth Union Commission. So we all know that what we are here for, International Literacy Day, is a UNESCO Day of observance that highlights the importance of literacy for all people, communities, and societies. The 2023 event will be celebrated globally under the theme of Promoting Literacy for a World in Transition, Building the Foundation for Sustainable and Peaceful Societies. Okay, so the theme underscores the importance of literacy as a catalyst for social and sustainable economic progress. In today's world, and in the estimation of UNESCO, over 775 million adults lack basic literacy skills. 1 out of every 5 adults is, 1 out of every 5 adults is illiterate, and 2/3 of them are women. It is clear that illiteracy spares no one. It doesn't spare a nation, it doesn't spare any country. So the population of Nigeria is estimated to be around 200 million or slightly more. Data from the Federal Ministry of Education shows that at September 2021, 38% of the estimated 200 million or more population, representing over 76 million adults, are non-literate. Since then until now, the government has joined forces with other institutions and agencies and has been working consistently toward a literate society, and no doubt has recorded tremendous success in its efforts. Okay, so one of the efforts that I want to list out of them was unveiled, is a new strategy unveiled in 2022, and it is called LEADS, Literacy and Roots Economic Empowerment Strategy. It was created for a strategic management meeting in Maraba, Nasarawa State, for mass literacy, adult and non-formal education. It was an addition to all of the existing strategies, which are literacy by radio, LBR, the Rural Facilitator Scheme, and Each One Teach One, to eradicate illiteracy among Nigerians 15 and above. I call on everyone to stand up and encourage and promote literacy for adults, for a better community, a better Nigeria, a better Africa, a better world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for making us aware about the exact scenario of adult literacy in the African Union, as well as what are the strategies we are going to implement. Now, I welcome the next delegate from India, that is Ashoka Global School AGA campus delegates, to propose their views on the literacy of women. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Avnish Bedse from Ashoka Global Academy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Avnish Bedse from Ashoka Global Academy, Ashoka Group of Schools, Nashik. Today, we will be talking about the literacy of women in India. What is the definition of literacy? Literacy is basically the ability to read and write. Importance of literacy of women. Higher female literacy rates reduce child mortality. Education lowers crime. Girls' education reduces inequality in society. Education empowers marginalized women to help themselves and their family. Issues faced by women in accessing education. Child marriage and early and unintended pregnancy. Gender-based violence against women and girls. Lack of inclusive and quality learning environments and inadequate and unsafe education infrastructure, including sanitation. Poverty. Education issues faced by illiterate women can also make it more difficult for women to access the support they need to identify and escape violence. If an illiterate woman experiences violence, particularly at the hands of her partner, she may not be aware of the laws and resources in place to protect her rights. Current literacy rates among women nationally by 2018 was 66%. This is a drastic improvement from 8.86% in 1951. Barriers to literacy in India. Lack of infrastructure and resources in rural areas, such as inadequate schools, cultural and social factors affecting women's education.
Please check the connection and the mic. We are unable to hear you, please.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, now, yes. Please go ahead.
India being an agricultural-driven country, farmers prefer keeping their children at the fields instead of school. General disparities in educational opportunities. Some parents choose to educate the boy child over the girl child. Challenges are also faced by women in marginalized communities. Now I would like to call my classmate Sanjana to continue on the challenges faced by women to access education.
Thank you, Avnish.
The challenges women have to overcome are gender inequality, lack of education, and early marriage. Females should be considered equal to males. This is not just an opinion, rather, it's a fact. Though women living in urban areas are almost free of being judged, criticism isn't being stopped, and in the village areas, the situation is worse. Not expected, right? In villages, people think that early marriage is good because due to religious beliefs and traditions. Because of that, young girls drop out of school early during the preparatory time of period, which is the most important phase in life. In rural areas, it is believed that it is necessary that young girls should be able to read or write. Because of old traditions, people think that women are supposed to do the household work instead of going to learning centers, so there is a lack of education. Education is a very serious and important issue to India, and India has been trying to work on solution to this problem for a long time. India now is trying to build more schools and colleges in undeveloped areas and is trying to decrease the numbers of illiterate women. How can we overcome not only these but many other concerning problems? Responses are to maintain gender equality. As I previously spoke of, men and women both should be treated with equal respect. Also, to spend more time and money on quality education, which will be helpful in further years. To add on, technology is more advanced nowadays than it was in the past few years. This should be taken as an advantage, and women should learn and express themselves on social media and networks. This is also known as digital literacy, and it is being followed a lot by many countries. This will build confidence in other females who want to achieve something but are unsure of their capability, making them successful and giving them a better lifestyle. Now, I will pass on to Rudra to talk about the efforts India is making to provide education to women and spread awareness to the society.
Thank you, Sanjana. Indians are trying their best to promote women literacy in India, and it's working. In fact, the government in India has a mandate of the percentage of women employees in government offices. In our state, Maharashtra, the percentage is 37.7%, and it varies from state to state. In 1961, the proportion of educated young men to proficient young ladies was 40 is to 50. In 2011, the proportion became 82 is to 65. Steps by government to educate women. First, gender responsive policies. Governments have developed guidelines and techniques that prioritize gender equality and ladies' empowerment in schooling. Second, legislation and legal reforms. Governments, governments have enacted laws and regulations to make certain identical access to education for ladies. Third, financial support and scholarships. Fourth, infrastructure development. Fifth, girls' education campaigns. Sixth, gender-sensitive curriculum and teaching materials. Seventh, teacher training and capacity building. Eighth, special education programs. 9. Women's education centers and institutions. 10. Collaboration with NGOs and international organizations. The Indian government is taking a lot of initiatives to promote women's literacy in India by setting up different campaigns like National Literacy Mission, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan, and much more. I will be explaining some of them in detail. National Literacy Mission. National Literacy Mission was initiated in 1988 with an aim to impart literacy to all non-literate people in the 15 to 35 age group. This mission also aims to educate 80 million adults over an 80-year span. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, or SSA, is an Indian government program aimed at the universalization of elementary education in a time-bound manner. The 86th Amendment to the Constitution of India, making free and compulsory education to children between the ages of 6 and 14. It's a fundamental right. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan. This translates to Save the Daughter, Educate the Daughter. This is a campaign launched by the Government of India. It mainly targets the clusters in Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Bihar, and Delhi. This program was launched to balance the gender ratio among boys and girls in India, as in 2015, the number of boys were a lot compared to the number of girls. This campaign was also launched to stop the discrimination between males and females in terms of education, sports, extracurricular activities, and much more. We all got to gain some knowledge that we didn't have, thanks to this conversation. But have you wondered what are the impacts and future benefits of women literacy? Well, I'll clear up that doubt. First of all, due to women literacy, there will be a positive impact of women's empowerment as they will get to participate in a lot of things, causing their respect and power to increase in the society. Second of all, the nation's economy will increase as there are more people working, causing more taxes and materials to export, causing the economy to increase. Lastly, I believe that women literacy is a must and each and every nation should promote it. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you, delegates from the Ashoka campus. Now it's turn to the AYUC student to please throw the light on the literacy among the women. AYUC students, over to you. Yeah, can we have the representative from AYUC?
Ambassador
Yes,
OJ?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yes, I tried. Currently in Africa, we are actually at summer holiday. So the students are resuming next week by Monday. So we actually couldn't, that's why you're seeing our presentation halfway. These students are still at home. So you could see, and then today is Saturday. I've been trying to see how I could reach to the others to connect, but some are having challenges of connecting while and then the school resumption issue as well. A lot of them are preparing to go back to school. So I don't know.
Ambassador OJ, what we can do is, as you are connecting with the student who is going to present for literacy of women, what we can do is we can utilize.
Deborah, can you help us?
So my suggestion, Ambassador OJ, is by the time you're aligning for this presentation, let's have one small session of question answers to be continued.
Okay, fine.
The Indian students and the students present for the African Youth Union Commission. So by the time the student who's going to present joins in, let's have this conversation taking place. So any questions? Till now, we have been going through various topics, which include the Literacy Day, where the development in the young children, development in adult, and development in women. All these three topics were covered till now. And by the time the presentation comes from the AYUC students for literacy of women, any question Indian delegation or the African Youth Union Commission delegation would ask on the other half.
Yes, I request Indian delegation, the delegates from India, if you have your question, or AYUC students, if you have a question, please raise your hand.
Your hand, yeah.
So
put your hand
one
up.
by one, one by one, we will take the question. So Indian delegates, please, if you have a question, raise your hand.
I will say this, that students, please don't be shy. The way it's always said in diplomacy and the education, you be shy, you will stay back. So talk and don't hesitate to talk. Thank you. Should I go with the name? Anyone from AYUC? I could see Ugbide. You can ask question. Don't be shy. Come on. You have such a beautiful smile. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My question is for, I don't even know how to ask this. Okay, in India, right? How do you deal with some specific laws? Are there like laws that are given that, how would I say, they don't really contradict or they contradict what you're doing? So like the changing with the government and everything, how it is.
Can you quote the
So if
question
I,
again? So, yeah.
yeah,
Like the laws, how many laws give amounts to all of this? Does it change with the government?
You
Or
mean
it's
to
just
say for the literacy
existing?
laws, right? So how the literacy laws and how the government is working on this aspect, or are they consistently changing? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. Any student who would like to answer this? Indian delegation student? What do you think about the laws related with the education or the literacy that the Indian government has been working for last couple of years? And what do you think? Is it consistently changing, or it is stable, or there is some research and development that takes place? Students? Any Indian delegation student who would like to answer, please don't hesitate.
Sir, can I?
Yes, please.
No, laws doesn't change with the government. Like they are fixed in the constitution, the laws are written. They don't change with the government. Government keeps changing and their schemes and policies keep changing. Laws doesn't stay. It stays the same. Laws.
For once, the laws might be added, but they never change accordingly. They can be amended, like they can be updated, but they cannot change.
Yes, wonderful. Any question from the Indian delegation towards the African Youth Union Commission students?
yes, sir. There is a question from
Please go ahead.
Navinya. Yeah, Navinya, please go ahead.
So I wanted to ask the question about the out of schools crisis. So I did not really understand the reason about this crisis, why the students are, leaving. So could you please elaborate about this?
Yes, AYUC student, would you like to elaborate on the question that she has asked for, that why most of the students have to leave the school or are not able to attend the school in the parts of the African regions? Anyone from AYUC Commission student?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question. Part of the reason we have so much number of out of school children, Nigeria, it's the largest population in Africa. It's not even up to the population of India, but then it's a diverse country, and there are different backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, economical backgrounds, and the level of poverty as well. Then Nigeria in recent times have been plagued with so much terrorism, so much insurgency, and the number of internally displaced people in Nigeria keeps increasing as a result of the Boko Haram activities. The Boko Haram activities sells the ideology that education, and particularly Western education, it's haram, it's sin, and they try to force these ideologies on people living in northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria is home to a large chunk of Nigeria's population. In recent times, schools have been bombed, education institutions have been bombed, and most especially girls are the worst hit in these times. I don't know if you could recall in 2015, in 2014, there was this Bring Back Our Girls. Over 200 girls were kidnapped, and that was the first time there's That's even emboldened the terrorists to kidnap more girls. Between then and now, over 100,000 of students, especially young children, has been kidnapped in Nigeria on their way to schools and boarding house. So the schools, most especially in the northern region part of the country, northeast to be precise, are not safe. And then we have the issue of child marriage, especially in the northern region, because Nigeria is divided into six geopolitical zones, and mainly during the northern part of Nigeria and southern part of Nigeria. So where we having these challenges, this crisis, and in the northern part of Nigeria, the level of poverty, it's one of the root cause. The second root cause is because of the insurgency and terrorism. So if the schools aren't safe, nobody will want to go to the schools. And then corruption as well. In as much as education is said to be free, there are lots of hidden charges. When you go to the public schools, to the public primary and secondary schools in Nigeria, you have access to the government has made it that you have access to 9 years of education, but then there are hidden charges. The also idea your books are free, you go to the school, the principal, the head, and they say ask you to pay for the school. So I hope I have made, I've given you like a little or a clear distinct insights on why the out of school children is so much in Nigeria.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ruth, again, you have raised your hand. Would you like to say something?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Question is that is it in India, this illiteracy rate, does it mostly affect women or just it equally affects the men and the women?
Okay, if I understand the question is that does the illiteracy rate affects women only, or does it also affects the men? Am I right?
Yes, on an equal
Yes.
rate.
Yes. Any Indian delegation student?
I'd like to answer.
Please go ahead.
Sir, the question that she asked is, does it only affect the women? But if there's illiteracy, it does affect women on a large scale, but it also affects the men on the similar but a comparatively lower background. For example, if a person is illiterate, she's a woman, according to the Indian society, she's going to get married and stay in the household work that she's going to perform. But when it's a man, the man has to go out, work on for the family. But at the same time, if the man is illiterate and the woman is literate, woman does not get that opportunity to go out and work instead of the man. It is always the man who has to go out and work, according to the extreme severe conditions in India. So I think it does not only affect women and men, but if it affects women on a larger scale than a man, but it does affect both of them equally. Because if a man is not illiterate, what will he do for his family? And if a woman is illiterate, she does not know what her rights are. So yeah, I think it's equally for both of them. Thank you.
Right. I think the answer is correct, right, Ruth?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. The next question is from Manas, the Indian delegate, please.
Yes. So, is there any kind of discrimination in educating a boy child and educating a girl child? If yes, how does the government or AYUC deal with this problem?
I think the question was quite clear, so I'm not going to repeat it. Yeah, so please go ahead. AYUC students, please take over.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think I got that correctly.
Manas, can you repeat it again, please? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Is there any kind of discrimination in educating a boy child over educating a girl child? And if yes, how does the government or AYUC deal with this problem?
So basically what he is asking is there any discrimination in any part of the, AU or in Nigeria where you find the discrimination between the boys and girls, child getting an education?
Yes, I think I'm going to answer that. I will be there with they could contribute a voice if they want to. In the past, there have been a girls' education has been neglected because of cultural and gender stereotypes, and there are biological factors that has limited the girls' access to education. So, I was to bring it back to the Nigerian context, although this is also applicable to all the Nigerian countries. Women in the past, most of the African culture has neglected women and neglected women's role to just be to procreate and take care of the family, lactate, give birth to babies, and in the past they don't encourage women to work and do stuffs like that. So women in the past have no say in the community. They have no say in national development, and they were believed to be weaker sex. They were believed to stay at home, stay home, and not to go out there and work. So men were believed to be the breadwinners. They go source for things and come back to the women, and the women was just to stay at home. There used to be this saying in the past that girls' education ends in the kitchen, but now in recent times the narrative is changing. We are seeing women at the top of their career. We're seeing women, there's almost this 50-50 representation of both gender in the workforce, representation of both gender in the educational system. But the Nigerian government, it's trying its best to do more to ensure that no girl is denied access to education. They're doing their best to ensure the girls stay in school, the girls are enrolled and retained in school so that we could cope all those challenges. But then a lot needs to be done, a lot more needs to be done, because with the level of insecurity, it's still challenging for girls to go to school. And make sure when they remember the trauma, the 200 Chibok girls and many more other kidnapped that has happened, targeted specifically to girls. It's challenging, but we're getting there to eradicate that deficit in girls' education.
Okay, so what I can understand from your answer is whether it is India or it is African Union, most of the cases are same. Thank you. Ruth, yeah, the next question, please.
Oh, it's not a question. I wanted to respond to the question asked.
Acha, okay, you can, please.
Okay. From what I understand from the question, it says that whether if girls are made, if there's a discrimination between girls and boys in class or in school. Am I correct?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay. So to some point there is. This brings us to what we call gender stereotypes. These are beliefs about a particular gender or what they are supposed to do and how they are supposed to behave in society. Now we are supposed to make the teachers and everyone in the classroom or in the school setting to understand that just because there are gender stereotypes in the society, that doesn't mean they are true. And we also have to make these girls understand that. We also have to make the girls understand that no one, because they believe that they're not supposed to be in school. So even if they're in school, they are of less priority to the teacher. And they are of less priority to the teacher. We need to make them understand that they are as equal priority to the teacher as the boys. They have equal priority to the teacher as the boys. And also, the federal government of Nigeria is trying their best to enlighten parents on where literacy hasn't really gotten to in Nigeria. Enlighten those places that girls have equal rights to education as boys. So even if the girls are in school, they should be treated equally with the boys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Arya, do you have a
We
question?
will take last two questions from both the delegation due to the time restraint. Okay.
Arya, do you have a question? Please ask.
I would like to ask that what is the mentality of the African families towards the education of children, especially the women literacy?
Actually, Arya, there is a too much chaos from your side.
We are not
So
able to hear you. Can you say
if
it
you can
again?
type.
So am I audible now?
Yes,
Yeah,
go
you
ahead.
are.
So I just want to ask that what is the mentality of African families towards the education of children, especially the women literacy?
Okay.
Okay.
I understood this question. So the question was that what is the mentality or attitude of the families in Africa towards the education for the children, especially girl child or a woman? Any student, if not student, we can have Ambassador OJ or the seniors to go ahead with the, if possible. Yeah. Anyone?
I think there is no one.
Okay,
Can we?
so
okay. Yes, please, sir. Please, please.
I wanted to speak the perception of parents with regards to the education of children, possibly the female and male. I believe times are changing. Children, parents are beginning to understand that there has to be the gender parity between the male and the female. And so more girl child are encouraged to take their lessons seriously. Now they are encouraging the girl child to be in the TVET, technology, vocational education and training, so that they can be more useful and become more potent in the family and in the society as well. The Ghanaian or African society is shifting from the narrative that ladies are meant to be in the kitchen. Now the narrative is shifting from that perspective and moving to the fact that the African girl child can also provide or can also work in the corporate world to help support and raise their children. Imagine an illiterate child probably raising up a child. There are certain things that they may not be able to talk to the child. The child cannot learn anything from such a person. But once the lady is trained and has some form of formal education, they are able to contribute meaningfully to the well-being of their children and what's at home.
Okay, thank you, sir. Rudra, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, sir. Okay, so my question is, are there any particular laws appointed by the government to protect the right to literacy for people?
Okay, if I'm not wrong, is you want to ask the question that is there any legal provision to protect the rights of education in AYUC, right, Rudra? Okay. Anyone from AYUC delegates would like to answer the question, please?
We can bring in either country-wise or it can be something which probably the AU, the African Union, is looking forward or trying to bring forward through the assemblies. So anyone answer those?
Excuse me, sorry, please, I want to add to the question previously asked about if there's any discrimination between girl and boy child education and how it is being solved by the AYUC or government. So, like, I want to give AYUC, for instance, we conduct seminars and programs that help create awareness and help to educate the children on how not to discriminate against each other. So, and government is also putting on agencies that help to reduce this discrimination rates and everything. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. Let me also address the last question of if there are government policies. Yes, we have the African Youth Charter. We have the African Education Charter as well too from the AU, and it has been signed and also domesticated in all countries in Africa, the 54 AU member states, and all countries also have their various laws and policies on education and literacy. And I think just recently as well too, we have a joint initiative by the EU and UN. They call it EU and UN Spotlight Initiative. Particularly Pillar 5, which has to do with spotlighting education, a second chance education for women and young girls. So that initiative is addressing specifically second chance education for women and girls, for those women who probably out of our culture and our religious background did not go to school as at when they were supposed to go to school or learn school or a trade or something, they couldn't. And this initiative is addressing that deficiency. And then also girls who happen, probably that because we have a lot of sexual gender-based issue over here in Africa. So girls who happen to be raped or who happen to get married very early and then they started childbearing, they couldn't go to school. So they have a second chance now to attend school. So we have those policies, both at the African level and country-wise. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think we can
the last
take one
question
last
from
question,
the
yeah, because
yes, sir.
the
Yes.
time restraint. Yeah.
Right, sir. Kangana, please ask your question.
Yes, sir. In India, English language is considered as the primary language for education. So my question is, are there any provisions in government for providing or teaching of local languages to preserve cultural heritage?
It's a beautiful question that has come up. Do in African Union or in Nigeria, do we have a provision where the local languages are given, importance? Anyone from AYUC?
Yes.
Voice is cutting.
Your voice is not clear.
Many of it's different.
Patricia, ma'am, this is cutting.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello.
Much better. Much better.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes. In all the schools in Nigeria, the public schools and even the private schools, they teach local languages. Eastern part, in the northern, in the southern part, and all the critical zones. Cultural languages, the major languages are taught. Yoruba language, Hausa language, Igbo languages that are even children, even at junior, senior secondary school, to write for certificate. So in order to actually maintain and sustain our heritages, this language taught as a matter of fun, as one of the courses that are meant to add to their courses and certification. So we do that, and we do it very seriously.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. With everybody's permission, let's proceed to the
feedback session. I will just quickly ask Ambassador Ojit, do you have any student to go with that presentation which was left, or should we proceed for the feedback session?
We should just proceed, please, Doctor.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Tanay, you can take over.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request at least one delegate from India and AYUC campus to please share their feedback for the today's session. Indian delegates, anyone would like to share the feedback?
Sure, sir.
Please.
The session was really wonderful. It is really interesting, and it is a privilege for the student.
Thank you, Mahi. AYUC student, yes, please. Ruth, would you like to start with?
I really learned a lot from this meeting. Before I had the thought that it's only African countries, developing African countries that had this problem of literacy. I thought like I'll say that just had it figured out before. But now I understand that it's everyone's problem and it's everyone that is trying to fight against it, against illiteracy. And I've also gotten new ideas on how to educate people and teach people that literacy is sending their children to school. It's not something bad. It's something that they should really practice. And I'm sure every one of us has learned very, 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 very much from this meeting. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ruth. Tanishka, please.
Yes, sir. Firstly, this session which we had today was really amazing, and it gave many experiences. We got to learn many different things, like the culture of different countries, and we got to make new friends, and we got to understand different countries, their culture, the learning style, the issues faced, and we could discuss the different aspects. Some of them were really amazing. Some of them were like understanding the importance of literature, and like everything was really amazing. It was very informative, and I would even like to thank the Indian delegates and even the African delegates for joining this session. It was really amazing.
Thank you, Tanishka. Kangana, your views, please.
The session provided an excellent opportunity for cultural immersion, and I had a chance to learn about and experience Africa's culture firsthand, and it was an eye-opening experience. And I felt well supported throughout the session. The mentorship which was provided was invaluable in helping me navigate the initial adjustment period. Thank you.
Before we go ahead, I think, do we have any feedback from the other campuses like AGA, Sitner, or because I could see it was only Ashoka Mark students who were saying it. What about the AGA or Arjunnagar campus? Anyone would like to give quick feedback? Or Sinner?
Yes, Rudra, go ahead.
First of all, I would like to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity. And there are many things I learned from the AYUC, which I was really not aware of. And I'm pretty sure that they learned some things from us too. And it was a really memorable session for everybody present here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudra.
Even from Sinnar or Arjunnagar? Yes,
yes, Samriddhi, please go ahead.
So first of all, this session was very interactive with the other country people, and we get a lot of information which were unknown to us. So this session was really amazing.
Thank you, Samriddhi. Now we'll proceed ahead with the thank you speech. I welcome Dr. Sabnis, sir, who is an AGM Sports Activities and Additional Representative to UNOG for WFD and Secretary General UN Veteran Peacekeepers Association, AISP and SPIA. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Tanay sir. First of all the delegates and mentors and the guests who are present here. First of this session was such a informative and such a productive. I think even I enjoyed listening to each one of you out there. Such sessions are very important, whether we talk about Literacy Day or whether we talk about Humanitarian Day. There are many other which UN keeps coming up with the UN International Days. There is a whole bunch of calendar which UN has aligned. And we all need to understand why UN has aligned this, because these days, these topics are very, very vital for not only the students, but the adult, the government, the nation to understand, to go in deep and do the research related to the topic so that that can be benefiting the humankind. This all these topics what have been covered are also part of the UN SDG programs. When I say SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, which have been aligned in 2015 and with the target of 2030. And every topic what we cover at international level, like Literacy Day, is connected with the quality education, gender equality, okay, and such topics are very, very important. The way it is said, literacy is ability to write and read. I would say the literacy is just not about reading and writing, but it is also about listening and speaking. At the end, to communicate, to understand the each other's ideas, each other's concept, it is very important that we understand to read, write, listen, and speak. And this is something which I think each education institution or the government should take the initiative, that every child, every adult, every woman, every youth get a chance to understand, to go with the reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And that's the reason at the initial stage I said speaking is also important. Don't be shy, right? So keep this in mind, that as you go ahead, you should go with reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And when we talk about literacy, the literacy plays a very, very vital role in the communication. I would like to quote one, which our 7th Secretary General of United Nations, Kofi Annan, said, and let me quote it: literacy is a bridge from misery to hope. It is very important that we all keep hoping and look towards with a positive approach towards educating and literating or giving the literacy knowledge to the children, adult, women, and youth. Because when we look forward for this, and when we are able to do the nation literate, we will see the peace, we will see the development, we will see the tranquility, right? And this is very, very important for any nation. And the way we say, every nations are connected due to the international relations and the way the diplomacy go ahead with. Every nation, every continent is connected with each other. And if one continent stays unpeaceful, or if one continent stays illiterate, it can impact the other continent. So it's a global scenario what we are looking forward to go ahead with. Today is the first day of G20, and we should really look forward what is happening in the G20, because the way it is said, G20, the way it's said, the global 20 or the big 20s or whatever you can put the name to it, it's very important that we understand the international relations and the geopolitics, what is taking place at the moment, and what different type of multilateral decisions are being taken. So thank you for being part of this wonderful session. I would like to give my sincere thanks to the Joel Kapre, the country director, the Rabby Gelson, ex-deputy regional chairman of SADC, and of course to Ambassador OJ, who took so much of efforts to align this session and making this session successful. On Indian counterpart, I would like to give my sincere thanks to Renuka ma'am, who gave us this motivation at the beginning, and she supported us in this particular session. I also wish to thank our Ashoka Group of Schools management, who has always been standing like a pillar and being supporting us to go ahead with such sessions. I would like to also give the thanks to all the heads of the various campuses of Ashoka Group of Schools, who has been always supporting. And with this, of course, our coordinators, our mentors of the respective campuses like Tanay, Megha, Meda ma'am, Reshma, I think you have done a fantastic job, supporting and giving the students such a beautiful opportunity to stand there and talk for them. I would also like to give my thanks to Mangesh, Kalyani, Nishi, Fatima, all these people who are behind the curtain, and they are standing there to make this session successful. So once again, thank you so much for being there and making this session successful. God bless you all. God bless. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And as rightly you mentioned about G20 summit, the recent development is the Honorable Prime Minister has welcomed the African Union to be the part of G20, and it is accepted by all. So we welcome the entire African Union in G20 summit. Now let's welcome Rabby Gelson, sir, from AYUC campus. Sir, I request you to please say a few words. Over to you, Rabby, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate Mr. Dinesh, as well as the team for putting this together. And I also like to appreciate the participation of the African students, delegates, as well as the Indian. I would start by saying that it's good to be alive, to see the revolution of education in our children. Because 50 years back, we were deprived from having an education at an early age, because we know Africa, the story of colonization and all that we have gone through. So it has hindered a bit of our progress. Nevertheless, I am glad that we were able to recover at a great speed. And my greatest joy is that I see that young people that are below 18 years to have such an engaging and productive session that I have to confess that I've never seen that when I was growing up, because I know that we were so focused on soccer, on sports and all other things, but we were never too focused on international relations. So which is something that one cannot ignore, because we know that everything that happens in India, in America, in Europe, in Asia as a whole, and in the African continent is not just a problem of the Indians, not just a problem of the Europeans, not just a problem of the African, but is all the global issue. So we all have a role to play, from our children up to the adults. I'd like to quote two great men that have played a great role in the history. Can you all hear me, please? I'd like to know, because
yes, sir. You are audible to all of us.
Great. Thanks. I'm just double checking. I'd like to quote two great men, as I said. One is our great Nelson Mandela, and the second one is also our great Mahatma Gandhi. Because I cannot say that the Mahatma Gandhi of India or Nelson Mandela of Africa, but ours, because they fought for what we are all enjoying today. Nelson Mandela said something very interesting about education, and it's too powerful. And while I was in high school, whenever I had the presentation, I was always using this quote. He said the following: education is the most powerful weapon that you can have to change the world. That's Nelson Mandela. And Gandhi, on the other hand, he said that by education, I mean all around, drawing of the best in a child and the man in body, mind, and spirit. Because education is not just the statistics that we read about. It's not just the figures that we go and do and research about it. But education is all around us, from the cultures that we interact with, from the people that we get to know, the history of the people. Like today, I researched about India so much, and the Asia as a whole, but specifically India, because of the many partnerships that I have with a lot of Indian people. Today, I was privileged to see to be present where the Indian children from school, I believe they're high school students, and they had such an amazing engagement that, wow, I'm in the loss for words. And our African young people as well, the children of Africa. I have to say kudos to you. Congratulations for such an engaging and inspirational session, because all I have to say for all of us, young children, you are a history in the making. So do not stop, do not give up, and keep up. Just know that it's not just India, it's not just the Africa, but it is all of us. And together we can make a better world. Remember, we have the 2030 goals to achieve, and we have the 2063 goals to achieve as well, because they work together. We talk about education, talk about empowerment, not just of the youth and the women, but also of our children. We have to protect the right of our children, because they say that the young people, we as young people, are the future, but the children do not stay behind. So as we move, we pave the way. I'm proud that I see a strong young women, young children, and young women that are taking these issues so seriously. Thank you very much. I have a lot to say. If I keep on, I will not finish now. But in few words, I'll repeat that again: that you are a history in the making. Thank you very much. God bless Africa, and God bless India as well as the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabby sir.
Shukran.
I request all the delegates to please switch on their cameras for the group photo. Mangesh sir, you are requested to please do the needful.
Please switch on the cameras. Mangesh sir, wait. All the students, I can see many people like Meda ma'am, Patricia, there's also Engineering Limited. Please switch on the cam so that we all can be seen. You all have a beautiful smile out there. So let's put our beautiful smile for this wonderful session, what we had today. Let it go on the record of all of us. Thank you. Let's smile. Mangesh sir, once you are done, please let us know.
Okay, ready?
Yes, sir, we are ready.